Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari Space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Ionic interference surging, Captain. Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types.
What's it saying? Use the mouse.
I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering. Losing.
I can't get it any clearer. We won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, that was the guy that got that
You sure?
electrical damage.
I'm sure.
Excelsior!
Come on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
Thompson, what up? Thank you for the chili. Wait, what do I gotta do? Target filter. Thank you. I don't know. Oh. Hang on. It's not like. There we go. Oh! To be fair, it was not working.
Come on, Diaz.
How much I know.
First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
How do you do this? Okay.
We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
Yeah? Managed to do it all on my own. Thank you for the nipple twisters.
That was weird. Thank you.
That's gonna
Thank
take
you for the
the
likes too.
shuttle. Here's the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
I don't know if Zach
Commander
would be
Ryder,
so cool with
plot
that.
an intercept course.
On it. Here we go.
This is weird.
Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17, 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Got it.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge.
Those controls are kind of weird. Weird. Adam, welcome in.
shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
What up,
Is
sir?
that him?
Yes, he is.
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oof.
The
Spock.
captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Spock is a dick.
Well, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Resolute, Ambassador.
Thank you, Petty Officer.
Carter? Carter Diaz. Sir.
I am pleased to meet you, Petty Officer Carter Diaz. It appears I have you to thank for my safe arrival.
Whoever they got to
Your
voice him,
assistance arrived not a moment too
pretty
soon,
good.
if I may say so.
Well, it wasn't all me. I got some help from upstairs.
A bombastic
No.
approach to clearing debris.
It's the original guy
We
that played
thought we
him.
were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid,
Nimoy was
our
already dead when this
maneuvering
game was
thrusters
made.
and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies.
I know, they got a good voice actor for him.
When all
That's what I was saying.
indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, onboard diagnostics can be wrong. I can take a closer look at your shuttle systems to get to the bottom of it.
I would appreciate that.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical, Petty Officer Diaz. Thank you.
Quite logical.
Ambassador Spock,
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind.
That guy actually looks like that general I was telling you about that plays Red Hulk in the Hulk movies. Provocation to war.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff.
He's so old now.
It's not every
Like-
day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend.
Character Spock is almost 200 years
flatter me,
old by this
Captain
point.
Slaw. But legend
Yeah.
implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present
Vulcans live a long
circumstances.
time.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
We're all curious about the future,
At him
Ambassador.
again.
Specifically, what exactly are we getting involved in here?
We got the basics
came
from
back.
Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Lydia and Hotari. The Lydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Illydians have shared a mining operation there. The Illydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Illidians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
How is it the Hotari were able to turn the tables and take the mines against superior forces, especially after decades in this arrangement?
Unclear. The answer to that question may be the key to a new, lasting peace, and one that I hope we can uncover during these negotiations. But it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Illidian fleet if this escalates to open war. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari,
Oh, you're good, dude.
better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
That is correct.
If we could convince them, it would restore the peace. But we would need the Hotari to accept a difficult compromise.
Made all the more difficult by the emotions flaring on both sides, no doubt.
Neither the Illidians or the Hotari are members of the Federation. So
Reese, thank
we
you for
can't
the
make
likes.
them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Illidians as a source of dilithium.
That certainly changes things.
The Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah.
That's
and this
okay,
is one of
Adam. I always have poor signal.
We could use that as leverage with the Illidians. They'll want the Federation to continue buying from them.
There might be something to that, Commander.
Putting that on the table could make the Hotari more hostile.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Illidium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the ion storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Illidian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
If it's keeping the two sides talking instead of shooting at each other, that actually helps us negotiate a peace.
And we'll take advantage of that as long as it works in our favor.
And when it doesn't?
All the more reason to learn as much about it as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught unprepared, should the energy anomaly continue to fluctuate. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Uh-oh.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly knows how to say the right things. At least when she wants to. It would be unconventional.
I'm honored to be included in the negotiation process.
You're not just included, you are instrumental.
Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.
A lot of people are coming in here for me being removed from the FYP. I'm into it.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock.
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with.
Do you enjoy anything?
I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
The Ambassador asked me to take a look.
Piper, welcome
I'm
in.
ready to crack this thing open.
Good. You could learn from Mr. Diaz's focus.
I'll take notes.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
Even Chovak has to look at that face
Looks
and know
like
you've earned some
leopard
real
prints
respect.
she's got on her.
And I have to
Yeah,
admit
they're called.
that I owe you one.
I forget the name of the species.
You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking. You did the smart thing.
You've pulled me out of trouble how many times? Call it.
What they're called.
Okay.
One of my favorite characters' name is Dax.
At the very least, maybe I can track down that bottle of Saurian
Space
brandy
Knight,
you're
she
still
has
on the
that.
hook for. But first, we have work to do.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
Okay. Begin diagnostic.
So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me.
You really don't believe in me, huh?
It's not you. Or her. Just running the numbers, and things don't work out more often than they do. I like my friends, and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
Data
An
recorder.
EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something.
Data recorder.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Let's find out. Warp field
Warp
inversion.
field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
Warp cascade.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on
It's
the
like
warp
the,
field equation.
What's the name of that fucking submarine that imploded? Ocean Gate or whatever.
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally,
It's like
there's
some sort of
complete warp
anomaly
cascade
that
failure.
was affecting
And it's
the.
one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
They're trying to figure out
Divide
what's
and
wrong with the
conquer.
shuttle,
You
basically.
want to check the warp coils or the navigation array?
No.
I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
It's the warp coil.
I'll check the nacelles for a cracked coil.
Your tricorder can record and analyze data. Looking through it will reveal the unseen. Use X to equip or holster the tricorder. Hold right trigger to scan the glowing objects. You must be close to some objects to scan. Yeah. Watch the frame of the screen to see if you are too far away. Okay. Oh, there we go. Some objects you scan will activate a deep scan. During the deep scan, you can use the left and right bumper to switch between different scan modes and search for glowing objects. Mode indicators on the tricorder will blink if there is an object. To find that mode, when you have scanned all the objects to frame, change color, hold the left trigger to analyze, blah 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 blah. Okay. Scan complete. Oh.
I checked every coil on the port nacelle for imbalances. If any coil in either engine were cracked, I would have detected it. So, it must be the navigation array.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Oh, that's the one chick. Just gonna put it in her butt.
Hey,
What?
we're
You're in
escorting
the
the
what?
negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
Come on, I'm never too busy to make time for you.
That's not true.
No. But I am glad you came by.
Now that's more accurate.
I gotta be precise with you, huh?
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for
Oh,
Atari.
shut up.
That another one of the captain's railroad things.
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole, steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do
Spock
have to go.
was in the original 60s show, which takes place 100 years before what's happening right now.
Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now. More important things on my mind.
kiss her.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was.
Your mom's nice.
Save some of that for when I get back.
Of course, you had to
You got a
say
deal.
that.
Be seeing you.
Lower decks dalliance. Choose to date Miranda. Got an achievement.
Etzelarda Diaz. If you could float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go. All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping this shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out
Looks
false
just
data,
like the show.
we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now. Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Playing some Star Trek.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now.
Extreme nerd shit.
Roll forward to the shuttle's
happening
attempt
here.
to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Hey, Dolly.
Dolly.
Warp field calculation.
Thank you for the heart me.
Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
Non-orthogonal? What the fuck does that mean?
What if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation
woke us
instead of the
out?
shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give
This
me
can be the
manual
only Star
control
Trek
on the
I've ever
warp
watched.
power.
What?
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 1.3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace
Everybody's dead.
variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Oh.
Oh.
Something happening around the planet that's preventing them from... that messed up the shuttle. So nothing's wrong with the equipment. There's something wrong with it. Oh, that's pretty.
Is that a waterfall from the mountain?
Yeah. Excuse me. Gone off. Whoop.
Ambassador
Phone died,
Spock,
no alarm, no
Captain
mechanic.
Solano, welcome to Hotari.
Oh, damn.
We are honored you've come.
Yikes.
My name is Tyler Saltaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The
My phone
honor
is always
ours.
charging.
And this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Illidians.
It's very nice to meet you.
It's a very
Likewise, I hope
These must be
species.
the representatives of
So
the
proud of
Mighty
myself.
Federation, the reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's
Jesus,
true or not,
people are
remains
huge.
to be seen. But either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Be headbutted by that dude.
Let's hope this is the
Mortal
last time we ever
enemies.
have to come here.
Snobby
If you'll
bastards.
excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the
I
arrogance
think
from
we're
that guy?
about to begin.
I don't know what we're walking into here.
He seems
That guy
full
was
of
something.
himself. Others, you know. Let's keep it in mind.
He certainly seems full of himself. No missing that. You could probably see it from orbit.
What a piece of work.
Remember, we are here at their invitation. We must remain deferential whenever possible.
Of course, but even that has its limits.
Spock's half human, half Vulcan. That's how I stand, how that captain was standing. Every time I stand up, people make fun of me because I always have my arms out like that. It's funny, my brother does the same thing. Show difference, show strength. Deference. Deference.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Holtari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Holtari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due
my
respect to
God.
the Federation and their ambassador,
As a dick.
they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Elydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war.
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken.
Put
What
him
is
in the
the
corner.
Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
I get the sense she's cut from the same cloth
Danke.
as Galvin. I thought they wanted us
Tack.
here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not
She
part
can
of-
speak for herself, can't she?
Ooh.
Then let her.
Slits her throat.
Now then, what is your name?
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
Being a Kobliad, you would know better than anyone. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Elydians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Elydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet! after all the
They also
Kobliad
sound like
suffered,
you.
you finally had the chance to right that wrong. To
What?
get out from under their control.
They also stand like you.
Would you
Oh,
take it?
yeah.
Or would you negotiate a peace?
I think that's where I learned how to stand was from this show. I would seek. I would right the wrong. I would seek peace.
There is no remedy for what the Kobliad suffered. And I fear who we might have become in pursuit of it. There is no justice if the oppressed become the oppressor. So I would willingly accept a peaceful resolution if it were offered. That is the real opportunity.
Perhaps, Commander Rydak. Perhaps. Unfortunately, that was not the case, was it?
No, it was not.
Peace is often elusive to those who need it most. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Dilithium is what's used to do
Ambassador
the
Spock would have
warp
us
speed
believe
travel.
you're here as a neutral party in the interest
It's like gas.
of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
It's possible the Federation has an interest in both peace and securing a steady source of dilithium. One does not preclude or prevent the other. But that's just my personal opinion.
Given the Federation has done business with the Elidians for decades, I would agree. It's entirely possible, if not highly likely.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no
I need a
longer
third cup of
exist
coffee.
without a Lydian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries.
Uh-oh.
So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Elidians? Can only be one or the other, not both.
Hotari.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
Mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I suppose there is some sense to that.
Spock to save the day.
I hope we meet again, Jara Ryder.
I'll be at your mom's house. I don't know if I made a good decision with that, though.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Oh,
Hey,
Bill's
Bill.
cooking something. I can smell it.
Okay, hey Wiener.
Hey, quit that. Come on, go lay down. I might have to take her out in a second.
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Hotari.
I'm gonna let Artemis
I
out real
knew
quick.
the
Oh, hang on.
Federation would see through the Illidians' baseless claims and protect the interests of my people.
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict. Our only interest is peace.
I will keep that in mind.
I assume you were there the day the mines were seized from the Illidians.
Not seized, reclaimed, and restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive, before the Illidians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
Did you have help from someone else?
Hotari stands alone against the Illidian forces. We don't need help from anyone. They respect one thing above all else, and that is force.
Looks
The
like
greater
somebody
the
from like
force, the more certain the
Avengers.
outcome. Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. Ready to contend with anything the Illidians might have in store.
No, it's not the...
Or is that not true?
Oh, maybe it is.
Maybe I've misjudged it.
It's a science vessel. The fleet is over.
It wasn't designed as a warship. More for scientific research and exploration.
But the Federation must have ships designed for war.
Technically, they're Starfleet ships representing the Federation. But yes.
I see.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Tylas.
Commander Rydek, I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people.
They have 4
Afraid
fingers.
of what might happen without your help.
Yeah.
If anyone deserves thanks, it's Ambassador Spock. No one is more invested in negotiating a peaceful settlement to this conflict than he is.
I'm so glad. We need his help before the situation escalates further than it already has. It's been
Whatever.
very trying.
I'm gonna eat burger later.
I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat. For the first time in our
He's a
history,
pawn
the
in the
Hotari
scheme of
have the upper
labor.
hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now, they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I get the sense you don't exactly trust them.
I don't trust their instincts, which are leading us to war. My fear has been that the Illidians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of. It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them. But it has no teeth. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Do you think it has something to do with the ion storm? Right now, it's stronger than ever, isn't it?
It's entirely possible. I'm not a scientist, but I do know the storm has knocked out all kinds of systems. So maybe the Illydians weren't willing to risk their ships, given all the interference.
I think that's what was affecting that shuttle, too. Maybe.
Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. But that's what concerns me. Whatever they're hiding, it can't be good.
How can we know?
Uh-oh.
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Let me decide that.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Thank you. I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
I played this game on Xbox, and I think this is as far as I got before I stopped playing it.
I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotari this whole time. I figured in the interest of fairness, I should offer another perspective.
Of course.
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So,
Cutie,
why
back.
you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without Illydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. But clearly, you weren't aware.
We are and will remain completely neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price?
Tacos. Copious amounts of tacos.
A Major Salit Arminta, Special Attaché, Illydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
I like their outfits, though.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least, that was what we were told.
Purple and gold and black.
Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
You sound skeptical.
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
You said the Hotari were primitive.
Well, they are.
Except for the part about weaponizing ion storms.
Snap, snap.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Ryder.
Report your findings to Captain Solano. Where is said Captain Solano? Can that run? What is this?
Soothing.
What? Your mic broke up. Your mic's still breaking up. You got one bar, it looks like.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Illydians stormed out.
There it goes. I can hear you now.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Oh no. I like that there's two stories happening. It's still the same story,
harmonics
but
failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degraded.
that's the way the
Increase
show
output
is.
to maximum.
Release
Increasing warp output to maximum.
the old show.
It's happening again.
Basically simulating.
It is evident that presently the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
We need to know more.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clearer picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
The scientific method. I like that's like labeled like episodes. That's the way the show is. Like when episode starts, it'll has that kind of text, and it's here's the name of this
Will
episode.
we watch the show
Yeah, it's really good.
when I get there?
There's
I
tons.
feel like I watched it,
tons.
but
This is based off of the
Setting
show
up
that
a
was set in
waypoint at a
the
distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp
show that I
field.
grew up with, like
When
the
we get
80s
there,
and
I'll
90s
deploy the
show.
first probe.
Because then there's like
Yeah,
the
I
old
wanna see
60s
that.
show, and then there's the new shows that just came out, which are way more cinematic, more like action in space,
I
where
wanna
the shit
see it
doesn't.
all.
I am always down to watch Star
Well-
Trek, so
yeah.
even the ones I don't like, I still love it. The Ionic Storm.
Mhm.
Okay, so fly the shuttle to the objective to complete a mission. Use the right trigger to fly forward, left trigger to fly backwards. Right joystick to turn, left joystick to strafe. The storm will push your shuttle around. Stay focused on the main course. Ionic Storm will fill your path with dangerous hazards. Green lighting will damage your shuttle. Take damage 3 times and you fail the mission. You can fly through the rings created by the storm lamp, so pilot carefully. Follow the lit path to reach the waypoint. The navigation computer displayed information about the area around you. Indicates a storm hazard. Indicates... Wait, exclamation noise, a storm hazard, and then parentheses, is that what that is? Indicates an asteroid. Okay.
Commander Westbrook, the Resolute systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse after the first probe is deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Chovak. We'll be in position shortly.
Hey, I forgot the Ion
Mr.
Storm was in the beginning
do
too. That's
take
what
care in piloting the shuttlecraft.
Yeah,
messed up
Now
that
is not
kid's
the time
face.
to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
that's true. I forgot that too.
Chovak probably isn't such a fun guy to work for, huh?
He doesn't like me. Chovak's not that bad. Don't take it personally.
Nah, I just don't take it personally. At least I
He's
try
Vulcan.
not to.
Oh!
That's a very mature answer. Shows a positive attitude on your part. Remind me of it when I start complaining to you about the ship's new first officer.
There's been tons of Star Trek games out there, but this one has been rated as like the best one that kind of captures the show.
Yeah, it seems really good. I liked
Yeah.
it.
It's good. A lot of people find it boring, but I love this kind of stuff. To me, it's like real science fiction. It's like fake science,
Far enough.
but presented like a fake scientist would. talk about, like an engineer. Like they talk like real.
Transporting the first probe into position.
They just come up with fake things. It's an
Westbrook
anal
here.
probe.
The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
Or big butts.
Problem?
Don't get me wrong. Things are definitely trending up with Commander Rydek. She's put my ideas into action. And she listened to me when your life was on the line out on the hull.
That sounds like a good thing.
It is. But I'm still trying to figure out if she's right for the job. She didn't go through what the rest of us did. Still got chosen to be #1. Can't tell if she was actually siding with me, or if we just fell on the same side.
Well, yeah, but she's lucky she didn't go through what we did. You can't hold it against her.
Actually, I think I can, even if I shouldn't.
Test is running. Warp field collapse in 3, 2.
That's right.
1.
She's new to the ship. The ship went through some sort of incident that killed a bunch of people. Just gonna complete
With
this
2 points
mission
of
and then-
data, the Resolute and the Probe, we've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there. Listen, I'll give you a piece of advice I wish someone had given me. Make sure you're never just one thing. And don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the people skills to be first officer. What a load of crap. I mean, if he'd said that about Chovak, sure.
Well, if you're asking, I think you're a people person. After all, here we are. Me, an enlisted officer. You, one of the senior staff. Talking like old buddies.
I should send Solano to talk to you.
Bring him on.
I'm sure you can handle him. You've got potential. You're a capable engineer. You're good in the field. Keep up the good work. And who knows? A solid jack of all departments like you could be Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet one day. Hell, Admiral Jellicoe started as a shuttle pilot. And there are places to go in the enlisted ranks, too.
You know, I'd be the best leader Starfleet ever had. Lower decks always have to fix all the problems Command causes. Maybe I'd just save everybody some steps.
Well, don't forget about us little people when you're running things.
Of course not. You gotta remember where you came from.
I made it.
Here. This is close enough. Stop the engines. Deploying the probe. Westbrook to Commander Chovak. We're ready for another sampling of data.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1. On.
There it is again.
I saw it. It seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
Here's the readings in relation to our local space. We've got the Resolute, Otari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually.
Locate interference peaks. Okay.
We got something.
These
Okay.
markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
Let's see if I can find some more.
Oh, there's one. Nice.
Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone
no
is
moon.
doing this intentionally.
Space station.
I don't know how they're doing it. This is
Why
like
would
nothing
they
I've
do
ever
that?
seen.
Why would they be doing this? We came here to help these people. And now we're getting hit by some warp-killing weapon?
Now, look here. It's current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations,
So primitive
they line up
set
with
of
the interference
miners
pattern.
are working
The storm.
to
And this
activate
beam,
an ion storm from
they're
the
coming
moon.
from the same place.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here, it's just a small part of something much bigger.
Ooh.
Presently, we don't have an explanation for how they're doing this. One thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out. A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Hotari during the negotiations.
And here I thought the Elydians would be the problem. Coming to peace talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
I don't know why the Hotari wanted us here, but it wasn't to negotiate.
Clearly, peace is not their intention.
Then what is? Why go through this charade?
Tylus, the Hotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back? It's a fair question, considering.
She's worried that her people are being dragged into something that isn't going to end well for them. She's trying to save them.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Hotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Hotari have to gain in bringing us here, only to make this hostile maneuver against us? There must be some motivation.
Unless they changed their minds between when they asked and when we got here.
That's the thing. It doesn't make sense to bring us here. Tylus said that Galvin and Sidron have restricted access to the mines, even to the Hotari. So they don't want anybody to learn what they've found.
Then calling in the Federation is a funny way of going about it. I don't think the Elydians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Armintas said the revolt defied explanation. That the Hotari miners somehow harness the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy of the storm?
Doing that is beyond even our capabilities.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Elydians and Hotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
Commander Rydek, sorry to interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Hotari. Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Uh-oh.
Galvin and Sidron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
Bet she dies.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
She's gonna get busted, I bet.
I'm sending you a scan.
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but I have to go.
Tylus.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
It was hard to tell.
We have to help her. Send another shuttle.
We're
or
not
maybe...
doing anything yet. Not until we know more. Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Tylus suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
It appears to be of ancient origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
We can run a full analysis when we get back to the Resolute. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Illydians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We were, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation. However, we could demonstrate that the Hotari have acted in bad faith, which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action. Otherwise, it could put us in a difficult position.
What the Federation doesn't know won't hurt them. If I do it right, nobody will know I was there.
Commander, I'm surprised at you.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. But a mission to the mines, covert or otherwise, is not out of the question. And I will handle the Federation.
Okay. After this, whatever's happening right now, I'm gonna
I want
hop
all the
off.
data I can get on this warp problem. And the
It's hard to find a
negotiating team's
part where I
shuttle
can
has been
stop it.
reporting data all the way back from Hotari.
Come back for more. If you like Star Trek, I'm a huge Star Trek nerd. So. Bye.